You know, in the smoke-filled room, you'd say, on paper, Bloomberg has the right balance of what you want to win a broad election. Maybe not a deep election, but if you're trying to win the ex-suburban Republican, which, by the way, Michael Bloomberg's an ex-suburban, arguably an ex-urban Republican, and at the same time, you care about these core progressive issues like guns and climate, it ain't just somebody buying an election.
Chuck Todd. Yes, this is someone buying an election because he's a billionaire with no political experience or grassroots support outside of elitist circles like the one you're in. I mean, what political capital does he have? Is it his jaw-dropping charisma?
I believe we need a president who is a problem solver, not a bomb thrower. Trump says he wants to run the nation like he's running his business. God help us.
He's Obama 2.0. He just oozes it. Yikes. But again, what is his political angle? He's a centrist in a progressive time, a corporatist in a populist time. But actually, Chuck Todd is going to try and gaslight us and say that he's the most progressive on some issues. Interesting.
Guns and climate. Who's to his left?
Well, Beto was to his left on guns, but he's not going to be a factor any longer.
Right? I mean, so...
Also the governor of
you can make an argument that
Bloomberg has embraced the Green New Deal.
I don't think he's embraced that. I agree.
So that's one area where he actually is more to the center than she is.
I like how Todd just tries to brush by that. Yeah, I agree. It's a pretty big deal that Bloomberg won't back the Green New Deal and has said that it has no chance, no? I think it pretty much disqualifies him from the most progressive on climate change conversation, whatever. But let's leave Chuck Todd's establishment fantasy land out of this and talk about this arrogant, wealthy dude. I'm not going to mince words here, and what he brings to the race, because frankly, I think there's a silver lining that he's willing to blow his billions on an ego project instead of actually making a difference by donating down ballot. I'm talking to you, Tom Steyer, too. There is a silver lining to all of this. With his immense personal wealth, centrist views, and close ties to the political establishment, Bloomberg would present an instantaneous threat to former Vice President Joseph R. Biden Jr., who has been struggling to raise money and is already defending his ideologically moderate base on multiple fronts. His presence in the race would offer fodder to the party's rising populist wing, led by Ms. Warren and Mr. Sanders, who contend that the extremely rich already wield far too much influence in politics. He is a former Republican who registered as a Democrat ahead of the midterm elections last year, and his mayoral record, including his support for stop and frisk policing and his championing of charter schools, has the potential to alienate pillars of the Democratic Party's political base. Yeah, we thought Kamala is a cop stuck. Wait until people hear about Bloomberg's paternalistic, racist policing with stop and frisk. One of the most racist policies in the entire country in liberal New York City. So the ideal situation here is that Bloomberg enters the race and he splits the centrist vote for Bernie and Warren. He hasn't officially entered the race yet, but he probably is going to. He registered and he sent his staff down to Alabama because the deadline was heading up for the primary. Can you imagine how Bloomberg is going to play in Alabama? There's no name recognition, there's nothing at all. He's just a billionaire who has a very high opinion of himself, and that's really how this is going to play out here. We will have to see, but I anticipate that. And once again, just bringing it back to MSNBC, how bad can your political analysis be? How bad? Do you want to get it wrong? Do you want to get it wrong? Maybe. At least, they'll get it wrong before they shake up the political establishment.